Hello all, today I'd like to introduce you to Damien Marron, who recently joined CR2 as VP of Development. Damien joins CR2 from Capita Integrated Business Solutions, where he held the post of Technical Director. Under his guidance and leadership, the company transformed its engineering processes, technologies and tooling to enable scale and adoption of innovative applications and emerging technologies. Damien, lovely to chat with you today, and thanks for joining me. First, I'd like to ask you, what attracted you to CR2 as the next step in your career?
Sure. Listen, thanks for the opportunity to talk today. I suppose when I got the opportunity to join CR2, it was quite an exciting opportunity. CR2 are well known as an organisation with a huge pedigree and a wealth of experience in banking. And that was interesting for me, coming from a kind of an ERP finance background. It was a close and kind of logical next step into the banking finance. And from the very get-go, the first conversations I had with Fintan and then subsequently with the rest of the executive team, it was very obvious to me that there was a real passion for the business in CR2. And that, it doesn't just live among the management team, but certainly right down through all the staff. As I got to speak to more and more of the team, it became evident there's a real passion for the business, for putting customers first and making sure that we deliver the solutions to exceed customers' expectations. And that sort of passion for the business that you're in, it's really important for me to be involved in an organisation that is, so set on doing the right thing by their customers and creating the right solutions. I suppose looking beyond that then, when I started to look at the actual solution portfolio, unlike some of the other fintech organisations I'd looked at, there's a very unique portfolio of products in CR2, right across the mobile, web, ATM and POS space. And it's unusual to see that many different channels in one organisation. And obviously that was very impressive and very attractive, is one organisation can offer so much elements of the industry, in one company. So it was really interesting. Also the length and depth of the products, the functionality that's within and how they can fully integrate into a banking environment without the need for expensive ETL and ESB tools. It just altogether was a kind of a unique proposition, I think. The markets and customers that CR2 operate in as well was very interesting. Obviously, in the markets that CR2 operate in, mostly Africa, Middle East, Southeast Asia, there's massive amounts of transformation going on, far more than is going on in, say, the North American or European markets. And that level of transformation in banking that's going on leads for huge amount of innovation, fast creation and deployment of product. So it's really rapidly moving, and that's a great environment to be in. It's not that many organizations can offer that complete mix of product, market, customer, that rapid innovation space that's going on in the marketplace. So, when you add all that together, it was a hugely compelling offer. So I'm glad I made the decision to come to CR2.
We are too, Damien. And yeah, you mentioned there the excitement and the innovation and of the market at the moment. Looking back from where you've come from, what learnings can you bring to CR2 within that market today?
Sure. So I suppose my background, as I mentioned, was in mostly in large ERP financial systems development. But some of the things that I've pulled from that are very relevant to CR2. I've grown and led very large multidisciplinary agile development teams, globally distributed development teams. So, understanding of what it takes to scale an organization, the development side of that, and make that work in a way that delivers the goals of the organization. It can be quite difficult to do with globally diverse teams, but once you get used to it, it's just a skill to doing it and bringing the teams together. So certainly that's something that I can bring to the table in CR2. We worked on very large enterprise systems and national systems, with payments engines paying billions of sterling in one particular case. I'm thinking of large national solutions, paying professionals across a whole nation. There were very regulated markets that I worked in, So I understand the security and the complex nature of regulated markets, which again is really relevant to CR2. Being in banking, it's very important that we understand how that plays into the development of the products that we're working on, and you build that security from the get-go. So the other thing I suppose that's really important, most of my previous career in one way, shape or other has always been very closely aligned to customers. And I have a very deep understanding and appreciation of working closely with customers. It has to be when you're developing software that the needs of the customer and the marketplace, have to be front and foremost of everything that you do. It's really important, I found over the years, to make sure that you understand the customer's challenges, not just the requirements, because sometimes there can be a difference. And getting behind the requirements to understand exactly the challenges that a customer has can help you deliver a solution which not only delivers on the perceived requirements, but actually gets to the nuts and bolts of what a customer's issues are, how it transforms their business. And at the end of the day, our goal is to deliver software which not just meets expectations of customers, but actually delights them and goes beyond what they might want it to do, to really allow them to drive their business forward using our solutions. So that's something that's been front and foremost of everything that I've done over the years. I suppose the last thing I would mention is probably the management of strategic roadmaps. I've managed very large product portfolios in the past. I understand what it takes to bring those products forward, to scale them, the development of those, and most importantly, to keep the technology relevant. The industry that we're in is obviously very fast moving. I've seen many different iterations of technology and methodologies over the years, going from right back in the early stage of my career, from green screen solutions right up to, very secure cloud-based systems developed by those multidisciplinary agile teams. So there's been quite a lot of transformation on the journey, and there's a huge amount of experience you gain from that. I suppose that's what I'm bringing to CR2, that knowledge and experience from all of those different projects and portfolio management over the years.
And you mentioned leadership there. What's your philosophy on leadership within, as you described, the fast-moving environment that we're in?
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. I guess in technology, I'm a great believer in agile working. And, in the fast-moving environment that we work in, it has to be right at the core of what you do as an organization, and the leadership and the processes you build have to reflect that. For me, it's about fostering a culture of agility, curiosity, continuous improvement, and prioritization. While at the same time, we need to make sure employees, really buy into that. We want to increase their morale and motivation, and within an agile team, you empower employees by in their own roles, by allowing them to make a lot of decisions themselves. You put the processes in place to make sure that happens, and you manage that. But it really helps boost the employees to a position of empowerment, that they then understand the fast-moving, dynamic world that we live in, and they're empowered to make the decisions to help that move along. So I suppose, as a leader, you need to live the ideals and the values that you expect the teams to demonstrate. So it's about building the processes to enable the team to be flexible, allowing them to rapidly respond to unexpected challenges, prioritizations, and deliver. In our business, priorities are always changing. Market needs change, customer needs change, customer issues arise, and we have to respond to them really quickly. So it's making sure that the business processes are in place to support that, and the employees understand that they have the support from the management team to make their own decisions within the boundaries of those frameworks to make sure we address those needs as they arise in the right order. It's very important to me to, as a leader, and also for the teams that I work with, to understand that it's okay. We don't know all the answers at the start. The way we work is about listening, learning, prototyping, getting feedback, adapting our processes, our products, our ways of working, and iterating and bringing that back in, understanding what's working, getting quickly to that point of understanding, adaptation, and then moving on. So that's the process that I really like to work within, and it's a process that I build the teams to work in that way. And it's really important because the technology, as I said, moves so fast. Everything in our industry moves so fast. You do need to take time, though, to sit back sometimes and reflect on what has happened over the last number of months, what can be learned from that, improved, and more importantly, to look forward, what's coming next. As I said, the industry moves so fast. What's next beyond cloud? What's next beyond AI and ML? How can we use those emerging technologies to build the next iteration of our products? So it's important to me that the team understand that, that I continuously engage with the team, allowing them to understand what my vision for the future is, how we can embrace those changes and really foster that innovative culture that pretty much everybody has within them. But it's about building the right environment to actually bring that to the fore. Also helping the team to make sure that we reduce barriers to effective working. So reducing any unnecessary bureaucracy activities, which might be seemed to be important, but really they don't add value to the process, and sometimes they can be an impediment to innovation. So we want to make people as free as we can within the boundaries of their work to make them as dynamic and agile as we can. Yeah, it's important that with CR2 having such ambitious growth plans, that we take some of those strengths and techniques that we spoke about, and we equip the organisation to be fully prepared, for the future, for that growth and scale that we're trying to build in. And it's about making sure that those processes are in place so that both customers and staff can reap the benefits of that growth.
And is there anything else you'd like to achieve in CR2 that you haven't touched on there?
I suppose it's important for me to state up front that within CR2, as I've come to know, there's a really great team in place. There's some very smart people who've built some amazing capability into the products over the years. And obviously, number one for us is to continue to do that. We need to continue to build innovative products that are well up there and ahead of the competition, really deliver on what our customers want. So, for what I need to achieve, I suppose my role is to set and deliver the strategic and operational plans for the engineering team to cover the next part of our growth strategy, to make sure we have the processes in place to deliver on that. I always like to look at the engineering team as kind of the engine of the business, and we need to make sure that engine is firing on all cylinders, even and delivering the horsepower that the business need for the ambitious and aggressive growth that we have. I suppose also I'd like for CR2 to be, seen as the most customer-centric, agile business in our space. Being able to rapidly respond to customer needs and market needs faster than our competitors, and that really delivers value to our customers. If we can, those changes that are needed in the marketplace, the compliance changes, etc. If we can continuously be the one who deliver those first, to deliver the new and innovative technologies and products in our marketplace, and it would be a really great achievement. It's an ambitious challenge, I know, but we want the team to be able to scale while still keeping what has been really core to CR2 success over the years, and that's that functionality, that innovation, and bringing those products to market. We have to retain that, but build it out so that we can do it on a much larger scale. I suppose at the end of the day, as I mentioned, my role is to ensure that we build the products that delight and enable our customers to achieve their success.
Yeah, and with technology driving that transformation of the banking experience right across the globe, how specifically do you see technology continuing to shape and drive that change?
Okay, so obviously the speed in transformation in banking has been phenomenal over the last number of years. Everything from cardless transactions, mobile money, digital wallets, things that 10 years ago we didn't have. The acceleration in the marketplace and the adoption of those technologies has been phenomenal. And COVID-19 has, if it's done one thing, it's actually accelerated the speed of digital transformation and the adoption of those technologies. So, banks, they've really had to adapt and bring those technologies to the fore really quickly. so that they stay relevant and support the demand from the customer base that they have, in digital transactions and self-service capabilities outside of, bricks and mortar branches. It's been a feature of COVID-19. The infrastructure just really hasn't been there, with some of the restrictions in place in different geographies. But that's kind of a temporary thing too. I think looking beyond COVID-19, and hopefully that day is coming sooner. I think the current trends will continue, but the banks must continue to evolve and grow their customer base, through continuously innovating and continuously adding new and exciting engagement options for their customers. At the end of the day, the modern customer, they want simplicity and convenience. They want their services personalised them to in a way that heretofore hasn't been done or hasn't been possible. Your average consumer, they just don't care about the complexities of open banking standards and interbank operability, etc. They just know that they want that simplicity in the operation. And, if a bank doesn't provide that to them in a range of solutions, whether it's through their mobile app or through the web-based systems that they provide, well, we know those customers, they'll move on to the next provider who does give them that. So banks do need to continue to leverage all the technologies, new and emerging, that are going to create that personalised experience for customers. I read recently one of the Gartner reports about the hyper-personalisation of services to customers and the concept of a financial concierge, where you've got a mobile digital wallet application that pretty much does everything you need for you. It provides services tailored to you on the basis of understanding your needs, your current financial position, where you are in life, and all the experiences that you may be experiencing at the moment. And the banking concierge is there to provide the banking and the financial products that you need to achieve that, whether it's car loans, insurance, mortgages, etc., all from one place. So that's a very large ask for a bank to be able to provide all of those capabilities in one. So, you can see the model changing from being the large monolithic banking solutions that we've had in the past to being very dynamic, agile solutions that the banks provide. And to do that, they need to fully embrace the concept of open banking, partnerships for complementary services such as insurance products and etc., all of those things that they might want to offer. But I think, there will be, there is now, but there continues to be very large technology advancements in AI and machine learning, which help towards the hyper-personalization of those services. So understanding me as a customer, exactly what my profile of usage of the services have been and what it will be in the future, and what services is appropriate to offer me, and more importantly, what it's not appropriate to offer me now and in the future. And delivering those services in a way that's, that's a value to me. The use of intelligent chatbots which use AI to be able to direct the questioning specifically at my needs. Self-service capability, again, linked to robotic processes in the bank, which can deliver end-to-end service. So if I need completion of certain services, it can be instigated through a chatbot or self-service capability through a number of different channels. But because that can be delivered upon by RPA or robotic processes on the back end, it should be a complete end-to-end automated service delivery. So that will help the banks, in transformation of their infrastructure, of their branches, to deliver as much services as they can through automated functionality, and not to, in the old-fashioned way of having to queue at a teller's desk. So the more of that service delivery can be done in an automated fashion, obviously the more efficient it is for banks, and they can concentrate on what they need to do best, which is increase their customer base. And lastly, I would say for those markets that haven't fully embraced the cloud yet, it's going to be particularly important that they do over time. It's not just for an efficient and secure, high availability of service that the cloud offers, but as we move towards the future, it's the platform for service interconnectivity. So all service offerings are and will be available on the cloud. So for a bank putting together a portfolio of product offerings to deliver to their customers, the cloud is a place to mesh all those services together, and that's where they'll need to be.
Sounds like exciting times ahead too.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned COVID there in your answer, Damien, and I suppose moving away from work side of things for a moment, and my final question, during COVID, we're very much aware, working from home at the moment and working remotely all over the world, that we're very aware that a work-life balance is so important. I'm very curious to know what keeps you busy outside of work.
I guess up until about 14 months ago, my life was very, very different. I'd spent the last 10 years jumping on and off at least kind of 4 flights a week, from country to country, buzzing around, visiting customers, etc. And it's been a very different experience over the last 14 months with multiple lockdowns. And even since I joined CR2, not having been in the office, all my work has been remote, which is a very different experience. But on the plus side, I guess I live out in the countryside in Meath, 30 miles north of Dublin. I live here with my wife and kids. We've kind of a large plot out in the countryside, so we've got a multitude of different animals, a couple of dogs, cats, rabbits, hens, lots and lots of things to do all the time. So it's been great from a family perspective, I suppose, being with the kids and spending more times when they can in this, when you're working or bringing them to their sports activities. Now, some of that hasn't been available most recently in COVID, but still there's plenty of opportunity for them to get out around the locality and do plenty of walking and cycling. So from a family perspective, I suppose that's been the positive bit. Outside of that, I have a couple of passions. Certainly classic vehicle restoration, which is something hard to get out of your mouth sometimes. That's really one of my passions. I love restoring old vehicles, old farm machinery. I suppose my biggest challenge to date, and one I'm most proud of, is fully restoring a 1968 British sports car, an MGC convertible. That was a major piece of work, but fabulous achievement when it's done. I'm currently working on a 1961 Fordson tractor, which is a completely different experience. But again, there's something very basic about the technology in those. It works really well, but it's lovely to just get your hands on a very tactile experience to work with stuff like that. I guess my main hobby and passion, though, outside of all of that, is beekeeping. I've been in beekeeping for a few years now. I currently manage about 15 colonies of bees across a couple of apiaries. I'm heavily involved in one of our local beekeeping associations, and involved in the management, and particularly in the training and mentoring of new beekeepers each year. And it's a hobby I'm very passionate about. I'm very interested in pollinators in particular, but how we have a unique position in Ireland with our local black bee. It's pretty much a unique position across Europe, and it's important we do everything we can to make sure that black bee survives. It's been around with us for a millennium, and if we do what we need to do, we'll keep it here for many, many years to come. It's not just the honey, I suppose, it's the scientific side of it that appeals to me too. I'm involved in a research program at the moment with a Swiss company who are looking at ways that we can understand what's going on with our bee populations and understand what we can do to make sure that the genetics of our native bees survive into the future. And it's amazing how sometimes work and hobbies overlap. But one of the things we're currently doing at the minute is that organisation have developed a range of Internet of Things sensors which we're putting into hives, and those sensors are feeding back telemetry data, temperature, humidity, audio details back to a large data warehouse. And we're working on that at the moment with artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities to understand the correlation of that data we're seeing from the hives into behavior patterns, to understand what's going on in the hive when certain events are happening, like swarming, for example, of bees, so you can kind of predict those. And when I look at, and it might be a strange correlation, but when I look at what's happening in banking and how banks are using machine learning and AI to look at the data that's coming from the usage of transaction usage across all the channels whether it's web, mobile, ATM usage, to better understand what their customers are doing and how they can prepare better services, to give the customers what they want. It sometimes seems strange to me how parts of my work and hobby life have kind of merged in one sense. So that's what I do outside of work. It keeps me extremely busy when I'm not working. So hopefully that answers you, Lorraine.
It does. I'm very impressed at that range of passions, and absolutely fascinating. And I'm sure we could spend a lot of time discussing that passion of beekeeping, and hope you get to enjoy plenty of time indulging in that this summer. Damien, but thank you so much again for your time. It was really interesting to hear your thoughts and your views, and I'm sure our customers will be delighted to hear about you, and also when COVID restrictions lift, that they'll be able to meet and greet you as well when we're back on the road. So thanks again, Damien, and chat to you back in the office.
Thanks a million, Lorraine. I look forward to it. Cheers.